Well, everyone, welcome again to the webinar. Tonight it will be Path of Financial Success. This is being recorded and you will be able to watch it again at any time at catchtheupdraft.com on our YouTube channel, Catch the Updraft. You know, it's really great to be with you again, and I'm so grateful for this company. I'm grateful for all that we have benefited from because of this company. And as Trish mentioned earlier, we are right now right at the point that we have now earned over $12 million in Morinda. And I think, wow, is that something or not? I mean, I would have been happy just for a few thousand a month when we started this, and now I see where we are and where this company is going in the future. It is really exciting for us. And that's why I want to talk to you tonight about the path of financial success, because this is really important to understand that there is a path of financial success here with Morinda. And all of you are on that path. But see, a lot of people get it a little bit wrong. See, all of us have joined Morinda to reach the pinnacle of financial success. I mean, we use the product, that's true, and you can have customers, they use the product, and that's important. But you join the business for financial reasons. Because if I wasn't making the money I make now, I would be out shooting photographs again, as I did, so many, last 35 years of my life to earn my living. I couldn't be here doing the things that I do, or do the trips or the travel that I do. But to some people, though, maybe that financial success is just a few $100s a month to supplement their income. And others, it could be to reach financial independence, which is really what it was for me. Because as many of you know from my story, when I first joined this company, we were in pretty bad shape. Thanks to the IRS and the bank and a few other things. And so it just got worse and worse. And then we've been able to climb that hill. But the path of financial success in any business, and especially in Morinda, as you see from this illustration, it is not a straight, no obstacle, uphill climb. Because along the way, what's going to happen is not going to be just a straight little easy hike up there. There's going to be pitfalls along the way to that financial goal. And those pitfalls could spell disaster as far as reaching your financial goals are concerned. And if you hit one of those pitfalls, it could be the end of you. You may never get out of it. So let's look tonight at the different stages of your Morinda business, the stages that create those pitfalls, okay? The first stage you start as, you see the fellow down there at the bottom. A person's all excited, they're ready to go. Stage one is that missionary stage. You're so excited, maybe you've had an experience with the product. See, when I started, I did not have an experience with the product for at least 2 months. It didn't happen until later with me, but I heard the experiences of other people, and that's what got me going. The experiences of other people, not necessarily my own experience. You see, your own experience makes you a customer. The experience of others makes you a business builder. Because having your own experience does not build your business. It's when you share the product with others through your enthusiasm that starts building your business. So see, you found something new. You found something exciting. That's what happened to me. Maybe it's what the product did for you, or like for me, it's what it did for people that I knew, or maybe a friend, or maybe it's a financial opportunity that you see. You want to tell the world. But the lack of entering into that missionary stage, that is the first pitfall. That is called the lack of enthusiasm. That lack of enthusiasm can be your downfall. I see people so often that join our company, they're excited, but they don't have that enthusiasm that's contagious to others. They want to learn everything. They want to study everything, know about everything. But ignorance on fire is more important than knowledge on ice. You don't have to know everything. I didn't know everything. I just knew that, hey, drink this and you'll feel better, because I saw what it did to others. So your own enthusiasm can make up for that lack of knowledge that you have. But see, that lack of enthusiasm, as you see from my character here, you go up there and zoom. There you go, right down into that pitfall. But what you got to do is build that bridge across that pitfall. And so what is that bridge? It's your own enthusiasm. Your enthusiasm will make up for that lack of knowledge. Because I've seen people that they join with us and they say they're enthusiastic, but they don't tell anybody. They're afraid to talk to their friends. They're just afraid to go out there and share it with anybody because maybe people will laugh at them or make fun of them or whatever. You don't think they didn't make fun of Edison? You know, you don't think that people didn't kind of ride Bill Gates a little bit when he started? I mean, he left school to the disappointment of his parents. He dropped out of college. Bill Gates did to start Microsoft. And now look where he is today, one of the richest persons in the world. Honestly, I didn't finish college. I still had 1 semester to go. But I already had work to do in my photography. I already had assignments for National Geographic, which is every photographer's dream. So I thought, why should I be finishing college to take classes I don't even need anymore? People don't ask to see my degree. They ask to see my portfolio. And so I never really did finish college. But the first years of college helped me a lot because it got me on the path that I'm at today. Okay? So, but included in this stage are the goals that you set for yourself to get across that bridge. You've got to set goals for yourself. If you have no goals, then you don't know where you're going. How can you get people to join you, to follow you, if you don't know where you're going? See, this is a business of getting people to believe in your own dream, the dream that you have, the dream the company has. I mean, who wants to follow a person that doesn't know where they're going? Have you ever done that? You ever got behind somebody that you're following to go somewhere and they're supposed to know where you're going and they're lost? Well, if they're lost, you get lost too. When I just returned from Peru about 3 weeks ago, the illustration I use there too is I got to the airport. Now, what if I got to the airport, any city that you don't know much about that city, and you want to go to a location, but you don't know where the location is? You don't even know the name of the location. You get into the cab and you tell the driver, hey, just start driving. We'll find it sooner or later. Well, I guarantee you, you're going to be traveling around for a long time before you start finding where it is you're going to go. Maybe years. Maybe you never find it. Depends on how big the city is. So you've got to have goals. And I had those goals. My wife's goal was $5,000 a month. My goal was $10,000 a month. My goal was to be the first jade, the first pearl, the first diamond pearl, the first double diamond, the first triple diamond, and the first black pearl in the company. And we did it. Ken Rowland and myself were the first triple diamond pearls in 6 months and the first black pearls in 7 months. I did that because that was my goal. But to get to that goal, I knew that I had to create pearls. I had to help create diamond pearls. So those are those little goals, along the way to your larger goals. But I had to visualize it. I had to visualize where it is I wanted to go. And I pictured it myself. See, you've got to visualize your goals. You have to. Your mind sees in pictures, not words. And you know that's true when you stop and think about it. And you got to look at those goals, those visualizations several times a day. Now, I used to do that on my mirror or in my office with pictures. But now I use my computer. And see, that's how I won the President's Club trip. We won the first one to Africa, and we now have actually qualified, is the word I should use rather than winning, because we qualified now for the second one to India. Now, when I did Africa, you've heard me say this before, I had pictures of Africa and what I was going to do on my computer for a year as my screensaver, about 60 photographs. I kept adding new ones to it all the time. Well, we qualified for that trip. Now it was announced for a 1.5-year competition to go to India. And can you guess what I did? You're right. If you guessed I visualized, I went to India websites and put all kinds of photographs of even some of the places I was hoping we were going to visit when we went to India. The Taj Mahal, a really well-known, pretty famous, some of the hotels that we would be at. That are just, in fact, that one hotel, it's the Taj Lake Palace in Udaipur. And James Bond, actually, they did a movie with James Bond there once. It's a white, it looks like it's floating in the lake because they've taken the whole island and made it into a hotel clear to the water's edge. And you can only get there by boat. And I got information on that hotel. I kept visualizing that hotel. I kept visualizing going there and the elephant rides and everything else. And I put about 100 photographs as my screensaver that I looked at every day over and over again for a year and a half, folks. And guess what? And also the Taj Mahal, of course, a lot of photos of that. Well, we're going to the Taj Mahal, and we are going to Taj Lake Palace at Udaipur, one of the places that has been on my list forever since I saw that James Bond movie, and that's one of the places we're going to. See, I visualized it. It became a reality, and I asked myself for a year and a half, whatever I was going to do, I would ask myself, is this going to get me closer to India or take me away from India? If I work with this person, is it going to help me or take me away? If I go to this country, is it going to help me or take me away? If I go to this city, is it going to help me or take me away from there? And that's what I did. And we're going on. In fact, we're leaving from my granddaughter's. My first granddaughter is getting married on the 22nd of September. And we're going from Pennsylvania to New York and flying to India, first class. Now, you see, I visualized that. I pictured that. And I think that's why it happened. Maybe it's whoever visualizes the hardest gets it. I'm not sure how it all works, but all I know is visualization works, folks. You have to taste it and smell it and want it and feel it more than anything else. And that all starts with enthusiasm. Those last letters, I-A-S-M, I am sold myself. Now, the second stage that you're coming up to here now, your second stage is your promotion stage. You become a promoter. You have to become a promoter, not just a user, a promoter. The question is, what does a promoter need? Can you guess the answer? Prospects. A promoter needs prospects. That's what the ads are on TV are for. They're looking for prospects. The the different kind of commercials that they do, they're all looking for prospects. When they hand flyers out on the sidewalk or the signs in the stores, they're looking for prospects, people to buy their products. Someone to tell the story to. Tell the story. Remember what we said before? You want to make more money? You tell the story more. You find better ways to tell the story. You find more people to tell the story to. You mass produce your story somehow. And so where do you find the people? When you start in the business, where do you find them? You find them from your friends, the people that know and trust you. The person that's afraid to talk to his friends or is waiting for a lead generation program, they're going to fall into that next pit, and that's the lack of prospects. You know, I have never yet seen a lead generation system that's made somebody wealthy. It isn't going to happen in our business. It's not going to happen in any other business. I tell people, if these leads are so great, why are they sharing them with you? I mean, if I had 100 great leads, I wouldn't be calling everybody. Now, some people in my downline I might, and I wouldn't charge them for them either. But you've got to go out and find people, and it's not going to be through a lead generation program. I have never yet in this business run an ad or bought a lead, but I still find people. I find them every week. All over the place I find leads by the clothes I wear and what I do. And so that next pitfall is the lack of prospects. And so you're going to go along and you don't have the prospects, what's going to happen? You fall right over the cliff. But the person who understands the promotion stage of their business, they build a bridge across this pitfall, and it moves them farther up the financial hill. Finding new friends. You know, how are you going to find new friends? Well, what I did, because I went through all my prospects at the very first few months. I joined other organizations. I joined a motorcycle group. I joined just other clubs and organizations trying to find new people. I went on a special fallen officer ride this weekend. There was 1,000 motorcycles. The thing was 7 miles long. 7 miles long to go up at the state capitol. It was really kind of exciting because the police, since it's for the police, they blocked off every intersection. We went 30 miles, and half of that on State Street in Utah, in Salt Lake City, and every light was open for us, and they stopped all the side traffic. That is exciting. While I'm there, I met some new people. You know, seeing my clothes, seeing my shirt, seeing my license plate that says Noni, I met some new prospects. Just going out and doing things, folks. You're not going to meet new people sitting at home watching reruns. You got to go out and join organizations, the clothes that you're wearing, to stay in touch with people who said no, for instance. And you heard me say this when I did this as a conference call before I'm doing this webinar now. You heard me say this 2 months ago, that the new pearl I have now that's on her way to being a diamond pearl, I first made contact with her 8 years ago, her and her husband, when she was running another networking company. She wasn't going to join me then because somebody had just invested a lot of money. She felt obligated to them. But I stayed in contact, and I kept staying in contact. For 8 years I stayed in contact. And the approach I used, in fact, when she finally joined our business, December the 30th, and the final approach that I used, and I said that, yeah, she had joined another company. The other one didn't work out so well. She joined another company that's very well known in our circles, and they didn't treat her right. And I knew that was my opportunity. And I asked her this question. I said, would you rather have the whole small pie of where you are now, or would you rather have a slice of a much bigger pie? Because the slice of the bigger pie is much bigger now than your whole pie is. And I let her know about the new Miranda that was coming instead of just he should know. I couldn't tell her the name yet, but the changes that we were making, which I hate to use the word changes, just improvements. And people say, well, if you're so good, why do you need a new improvement? Well, folks, you ever looked at ads on TV or anywhere else, the new, improved? That's one of the 12 most powerful words in the English language, 2 of them, new and improved. Discovery is one of those. Guarantee is one of those. Money is one of those. Your name is one of those. Well, that's another talk. We could give it a webinar. Some of you heard me say it in our meetings, but if you let me know, we could do a webinar on that whole topic, how to use the 12 most powerful words. Because I learned that I was using those words that was found by a study from a university, and that those words are powerful. And I found out that I was using all those words in my presentations, and maybe that's why I was having the success I had. But you see, the new Miranda coming is what brought them in on December the 30th of last year, 2011. And so you never give up. You see, every night, every morning, I pray to God to put people in my path that I can talk to. See, there's a difference in asking our Father in heaven to just send them to me than being in my path. See, I have to be prepared to take advantage of that opportunity, which means I need to be prepared, not just have it done for me, but to be prepared. And that brings us to our 3rd stage, the organizer stage. You start developing an organization, and you are now paid on the efforts of other people instead of just your own efforts. This is where the exciting concept of residual income starts taking effect. There's a pitfall ahead that will kill your dreams if you're not careful, and you see it on the screen here. That's the pitfall of lack of preparation. Because if you're not prepared and you get up there, even though you have the prospects, folks, it's all over. Because if you're not prepared to answer the questions, you know, you're not going to get the people. But some people say, well, I got to be prepared before I talk to anybody. No, no. Let the business do some of it for you, the business, or rather the product, I should say. Let the product do some of that work for you as people start getting it. I've had in the past people that were my personally sponsored, one person that was a Diamond Pearl, personally sponsored, that never did understand the marketing plan. But that person could recruit people just through her own enthusiasm and her own belief system, and people wanted to be a part of that. Now, remember what I said about my prayers to build an effective bridge across this pitfall? It'll take building the knowledge of our product and our business, building the knowledge of people. See, I didn't ask God just to send me the people to sign them up. Put people in my path that I can be prepared to share with them. And it won't happen overnight. It's going to take serious preparation to learn the things that you need to do. To read the manuals, read the books, go to the seminars, listen to the webinars, listen to the conference calls. Whenever you get to the point that you think you already know everything, that's where you're going to start going downhill. And I know people in this business, in our industry, that think they already know it all. In fact, I'm considering right now going to an MLM University class for 3 days, because who knows who I'm going to meet there and get a few new ideas. I don't know it all. I know quite a bit now because I have studied a lot, but I don't know it all. And anytime a person starts thinking they already have all the answers, well, that's the end of their success, seriously, because it's not going to happen. When I started in this industry for the second time in 1989, I knew nothing about it except that I had failed 20 years earlier. And the first and the granddaddy of all the networking companies, I was a failure. I quit my job and went full time. And that's why I tell people now, never do that, because I couldn't make ends meet. It was terrible what happened to me. But that's also what got me to move to Utah. So I'm grateful that happened. But at the time, it was pretty bad. And that first meeting I've had, and some of you heard me say this before, that first meeting at my home, and Kelly Olson was my sponsor and that other company from Canada, no one came. Kelly and his wife Arlene came. They only lived a block away. My wife came. My dog came. Everybody else went home after refreshments. My wife went to bed, and I made a presentation to my dog. I mean, he was the only one that was there, and he went to sleep. But then I started recording myself. I started, making presentations constantly, recording myself on video to see how I could make it better. And I watched all the videos I could get my hand on. I read the books. I went to the meetings, the trainings, the seminars. I went to every meeting that people taught. And one of those meetings was that John Bentley would do was his trainings, clear back in 1989 and 1990. I took meticulous notes at those meetings, and I was learning from the experts. And see, that's why you're listening to this call tonight. I'm sad there's not more people on here. We could have 1,000 people on this call that I've paid for this service. We could have 1,000 people on this, but we don't have near that many. But you see, that's why you're listening tonight, to hope to get new ideas. If you just get one idea out of a meeting, it makes it worthwhile, because that one idea can make you a lot of money someday. And I hope you're taking notes tonight. Now, and if you don't get them all now tonight, that's why I'm recording this. You can watch it again later. Stop it and start it and write down some notes, and then go back and review them. Some of the things, in fact, some of the things I'm teaching you tonight, I found some of my own notes that I thought were lost in one book that I had, that I wrote notes down, let me think here, in 1971 from a business I was involved in SMI called Success Motivation Institute, where we taught people, and I learned from this, teaching people how to use repetition to improve yourself and improve your attitudes, and how to set goals and how to be a leader. And I took a lot of notes at those meetings in Waco, Texas. And I found one of these notebooks recently, and eventually over this next year I'm going to be sharing some of those things with you. But I took those notes and illustrations, and now I found them. Now, what is it now? Is it like 40 years later, I think? And now they're coming in handy, because now I've been in this business long enough to see what's causing some of these people to go into these pitfalls. And this presentation I have here now wasn't really originally for network marketing. It's for business. But it fits so well into our business. And see, I made a lot of mistakes at the beginning. Boy, did I make a lot of mistakes in networking. Man, I thought I was doing something wrong, and I was. But I started going to the meetings, and I learned, how to do things right. But I was preparing myself for the future. I wanted to give my wife and my family. Now, you're oh so close to the top. You can see from this illustration. Actually, you're so close to the top, but there's something else coming up. And, people are praising you for success. You're starting to feel pretty good about yourself and all. But there's another thing coming up, and that's called loss of purpose. That's that last one. People, and let me show you from an illustration here. You have a loss of purpose, and it's going to go right off the cliff, and let me show you what I mean. And some of you know, without me naming names or anything else, they've been in our business, they've been in many different networking companies, and they're starting to feel pretty good about themselves. Just before their true potential is reached, they fall off that cliff, and why is that? Because a high-profile person is suddenly in the spotlight. Now they have the fame. They're treated like superstars. They receive recognition throughout the company. And everybody looks at them and go, wow, that guy has it made. That woman has it made, whatever. But their humility and their gratefulness kind of disappears. They forget why they joined Miranda back when they first signed up. They start thinking it's all because of them. And I tell people, you want to see how great you are? When I was just down in Peru, we had 1,300 people at our meeting. Myself and John Wadsworth were there. Some people came on 5-hour bus rides to be there. 1,300 people. And, you know, I had my picture taken. I'm like a rock star there, and so is John. But let me tell you, I walk out of that conference center, that hotel, out into the street, nobody knows who I am. If it wasn't for Miranda, if it wasn't for our product, if it wasn't for what John did, I wouldn't be anywhere in this business. I wouldn't even be in this business. I'd still be shooting pictures somewhere. You see, their humility and gratefulness disappears. They forget. They lose faith in the company. They lose faith in our products. They start finding fault instead of solutions. And then suddenly they leave the company. See, no company's perfect. Our company isn't perfect. I remember what John Wadsworth told me way back when we started, that I will never sin intentionally. They've made mistakes. I've made mistakes. I mean, I'm not perfect. You know, I only know of one person that was ever perfect on this in this whole world, and I'm sure nowhere close to that. And so we got to remember, it's not just us alone that's making all this happen. I'll tell you another thing. All these people that have been in our business and have been successful, and then they leave it because some other company offers them $1 million or $2 million or $3 million, or this, they see, you know, things look so great over here and they're upset because they got their feelings hurt. I have not seen one of those yet that has not gone from company to company to company still looking for what they had with Miranda. It just hasn't happened. These people, they still go from company to company, always looking for something better, but they never find it. What has really happened is that they've lost their purpose. Let me give you just another little warning here right now, because there's some people right now within our own company. They're talking to members of my downline, and some of you may have been approached, and even other downlines that are doing another program. They're still doing Miranda. Oh, my heart's still in Miranda. But this other program, it doesn't really compete. It's a different product. It can be there too. And one person that I know that's making some good money said to that person, you know, I didn't get there by making, you know, doing more than one company. He says, well, if I was making the money you were, I wouldn't need to do another company. Boy, has that person got it wrong. Because let me tell you something. I'm making the money I do because I don't do another program. You see the difference? It reminds me of a person that stands in front of the fireplace and says, okay, fireplace, give me some heat and then I'll put the wood in. It doesn't happen that way. It goes the opposite way. First you put the wood in and then you get the heat. And that's why we have fast start. That's the kindling wood, the wood you put in that burns the fastest. Then the pinyon pine you put in next, it keeps the fire going, burns hotter and longer and slower. Fast start, unilevel. That's how it works. But I'm telling you, doing more than one program, nobody that makes a lot of money does more than one program because it just isn't going to last. It's like a person with 2 watches, you know. A person with 1 watch knows what time it is. A person with 2 is never quite sure because they never agree. So, what is the bridge for this pitfall? That bridge is humility and gratefulness. That's what that bridge is. And now you're up there towards the top. And remember this, leadership is really service. I love a quote that General Eisenhower said, and he became president of the United States. He said, remember he was a pretty famous general during the Second World War, you do not lead by hitting people over the head. That's assault, not leadership. Let me repeat that. You do not lead by hitting people over the head. That's assault, not leadership. This includes your upline, your downline, even the people that work at the corporate offices at Miranda. We're all striving for the same goal, to make Miranda the greatest company on the face of this planet. And when we do, we all benefit. Leadership is service, if we can just remember that. Now, have you ever heard somebody say, well, they didn't even say thank you. See if I'll ever do that for them again. Well, why did you do it in the first place? To get praise or to help somebody? If you did it to help somebody, it doesn't matter if you get praise or not. You know in your heart what you did. And somebody up above knows what you did also. So here's what I want to tell you, and getting close to finishing this up here. Don't become like a shooting star. You know, you look good for a short time. We've seen those people. They look good for a short time, and, you know, and then what happens? They forget their purpose, their mission, and then they fade out, and they're gone. They're gone. What you want to do is become more like the North Star. Steady, stable. It's the star that others are guided by. You know, to be guided by that star, rather than a streak of light that burns out, become like the North Star. People know you're steady, you're going to be there. And honestly, one reason I've worked so hard on some of these competitions, well, two of them. Well, three things. Let me just tell you real quick on my visualization chart. One of them was Africa. So when they announced Africa in Anaheim, I knew I was going. I knew I was going. There was no doubt in my mind. I was going to Africa, and we did it. The other thing that's been on my chart was going to India. Now, that was a little bit tougher for me because, as many of you know, some of the health challenges I went through, but I also want to tell you that I'm totally cancer-free right now. I was drinking a bottle of Max every day for a month straight. Had an operation, but I was announced just about 3 weeks ago from the doctors and the scans that I have that I'm totally cancer-free. I'm excited about that. I'm still healing a little bit, but so I had to go through quite a few things to still win that competition. But the third one was, always wanted to photograph Machu Picchu in Peru, and I just did that 2 weeks ago. So now we have some new goals we're putting on there. In fact, Ann's goal is to go to an Alaskan cruise. I've been to Alaska shooting pictures, but she hasn't. So that's our next big goal. And probably whatever else they come out with for the next president's competition or whatever they do. But you see, I visualized it. I want to be able, I cannot expect from anybody else what I'm not willing to do myself. So everything I've told you tonight, folks, is the truth. It's things that I've used. It's things that I've done. It's not theory. It's not hyperbole. They're things that I've actually done. So if you're watching this webinar tonight, which you are if you're listening to my voice, congratulations. And if you're watching this at a later time, watch it more than once. Make the notes. You know, make sure you understand what was said. When you start studying and learn how to overcome obstacles. See, I wrote down obstacles and rejections that people would give me before I ever had them. So I already had the answers before the people ever gave them to me. And so after tonight, and you've listened to this and watch it again, and you look at your notes, go out now and make a difference, because you can make a difference. And many of you are making a difference. And a lot of you, or some of you, I'm going to be seeing in Rome. And boy, we are excited about that. So have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. And my wife and I love each and every one of you. And we are so grateful for this business and for all of you, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be where we are. God bless you and good night. So as you leave this webinar this evening and you go out and make a difference in this world, remember that you are in the greatest company there is in the world, Miranda Bioactives.